Hello, everybody. How's everybody doing today? As we wait for people to come onto the stream, I would like to let you all know that permanently from now on, I'll probably be streaming Mondays, 6:30, no matter what. I just want to make it a consistent thing for myself, and it's going to be something that I plan to, grow, in the foreseeing future. I see one person in the stream. So you get to decide what our first spooky drawing is going to be. And we're going to go over the first pages of my new sketchbook that I got from the awesome people at the Neek. And yeah, let's see. So we have Mr. Frankenstein, this monster. I wanted to play a little bit more with watercolors and with actual like rendering of illustrations. And hey, drawing gamer, what's up? I'm trying to get a little bit more into the detail. So a werewolf. All right, we'll draw a little werewolf. Why not? Sure. This is the second page of it. In this case, I don't know if I'm gonna be using both sides of it, but you know what? No, we are. We are gonna use both sides of everything. We're gonna use every piece of the sketchbook that we can get. So let's clamp this down with these little tiny things. Whenever you have an unruly sketchbook, just grab a couple pages, and that should keep the weight down. Especially if you're gonna be drawing just on both sides of the sketchbook. Okay, so the theme for today is going to be spooky. And by spooky, I'm not meaning like horrendous, gore infested, like terror inducing like illustrations. I'm more so going to show you how to change the mood of a drawing by simply having different line qualities. And that's going to be an interesting topic that I just came up with right now. So bear with me if I am not um, super prepared, but we're going to have some fun. All right, so let's say that we have two of the same faces. We have face number one and face number two. Oh, and before we do anything, let me know how the sound is because I got a cool new lapel mic and I wanted to actually see if the sound is better than in the previous ones. So if you guys can just comment, I can see it right away and it's be awesome. All right, sounds great. Okay, perfect. So we have two different faces. We're gonna have a little division for the front and the sides. We're going to draw two of the same eyes. So we're going to try to keep them relatively similar. Okay. So we're going to make one look really creepy and one look not creepy. And you guys can start telling me what you guys think the difference is between them. And then I'll explain why. Okay. So in this side, we're just going to draw a normal eye, how I would normally draw eyes. Drawing the upper eyelid a little bit thicker, just so it gives an indication of an eyelash, even though there's no eyelashes. And then leaving a relatively thin line on the outside, just to still maintain an outer edge. Normally in my illustrations it'd be really really thin and then it would be filled in with white, just you know, FYI. Let's see what you guys say. You guys said something. Hey Rod, what's good? I hope you're doing better. I'm doing better. I'm not. I'm taking it day by day, and that's really all you can really do. Um, so yeah. So I'm focusing a lot on my work and focusing a lot on me. And life will sort itself out at some point. So, okay, so we have one eye, relatively normal, just normal character. Now we want to have a really creepy one. So, if you guys pay attention, I'm going to start adding a lot of lines in a very specific way. So, the more broken up, distressed lines you have in your around your eyes, especially, but it could be in like other parts of the body, and I'll show you guys later. But the more you have that, and the smaller the inside of your eye is, let's say you just make it a dot, and then just adding these distressed lines that in like are they look like they're going around the eye, but they're technically trying to show off that it's going around the bone structure, the cheekbones. So showing a little bit more in your brain, it just gives you the indication that something's just like not right, that it's sunken in a little bit more into the face, uh, just a little darker, a little creepier. And you get that by just adding little distress lines around your eyes and then making the middle of the eye a little bit smaller. Now, if you want to make it cuter, you make that middle part as big as you can within the eyeball. And then you have super adorable, like super Bambi eyes, right? But if you go the opposite route, you can even add like little chaotic lines inside of the eye. You know, just like make them really look all psycho, like, and it's literally the only thing that's changing is the way that I'm rendering the outside of the face. I could just put these eyes on this guy and then it'd look a little bit cuter. Like it'd look like a dog that has like two different eye colors or something. But those distress lines and those edgy lines that you have around it make something look spooky. Now, another way that you can go about it is to eliminate the middle part of the face completely. And I like doing this a lot as well. And then just making super sketchy, maybe you guys will recognize the character, but just making super sketchy lines produces a look in itself that can give off pretty fun results. And even if the drawing isn't necessarily of a spooky thing, it ends up getting like this scary feel to it. When you don't complete lines, it creates like a little bit of a chaos inside your art. I got these really cool watercolor brushes from Meniso. That store that just sells everything super cute. I love that store. I always get like art supplies and stuff like that whenever I go there. So sketchy lines combined with color can look, really, really cute as well. Adding a little bit more of a blue or a purple around these creepy looking eyes just makes it even more so look creepy. Like now the person's like a zombie or something. So they have a doing something like that plays a nice role when it comes down to drawing something creepy. Now, the other thing that you can do when you want to make something creepy is make things really jagged. So let's just make a face right now real fast. Did you guys know that the most popular videos that I have ever uploaded, and the ones that you all seem to like the most, is of me just drawing faces like this. I find that to be incredibly awesome. And at the same time, I'm like, I have so many other cool stuff. But it's really, really cool to like see that you guys enjoy so much me drawing just faces. So I might do like 100 face challenge or something like that, or just stream until I draw 100 faces, and then we call it a day. Okay, so let's say we have just a normal face, and then we want to make this guy like really, really creepy, right? So the first thing I am going to do in any three-quarter face is to identify the front of the face. I've been thinking a lot more into 3D shapes and how like the faces are made into like complex patterns. And I'm seeing my sketches evolve a lot. I'm seeing a lot of imperfections that I used to have disappear. And it's just from thinking and mapping things out in my head before putting the pencil on the paper. And I'm able to do that because I've been studying like a madman, like how to draw different things in different angles. And that led me to get better at perspective. And that just led me to be able to draw cooler. Okay, so we want somebody that's going to be really, really creepy. So a key characteristic of a creepy person to me is the very, very creepy smile. Like, ha 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 ha, like Joker status, right? Like super jagged and like just creepy in general. So let's give this guy one of those faces. Remember, the mouth goes around. So I'm drawing, if I drew through it, the other side of the mouth would be about right here. And then it would just rotate around. And then from that same point, it would do the same thing for the other side of the mouth. So it goes around and all the way connects, right? Once you have that, you can add the teeth. And you know exactly where it's supposed to be going. The teeth don't reach all the way to the back, of course. The cheeks are getting pushed up. So by not connecting and not showing the teeth going all the way back, you actually create more depth. See right here, then you just probably see a tiny bit of the other side. And that's how you just map out mouths. Just literally just draw through the shape. Remember that, you know, a face has depth in two sections. The front part is really rounded, and then the sides of your head are very, very flat. So you have to start like mapping things out in complex shapes at some point. Once you think that you've mastered the styles that you're drawing, then mapping it out like this is going to lead you to more precise, complex shapes. And then you will be able to draw very, very quickly, very, very accurately, and a lot more detailed. So I'm trying to actually, I'm trying to map out how to actually do that in like a lecture type of way. And teaching somebody through a book by itself, like if I just released a book, I don't know if it'd be like enough. So what I have to do and what is going to be awesome about my book is that I'll have the parts that are very difficult will have little explanation sections linked to videos that I've done or, you know, resources that I've done. So yeah, that's going to be pretty cool. And since I've generated like hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of lecture, just like lessons and everything already. It just makes it easy. Okay, so we have our lips that go around a very nice, long, creepy smile. And then the next thing is, again, we're gonna stay with the sharp angles and we're gonna do like super, super sharp eyebrows. Just like digging in, creating that like frown. Right? So this is where the eye would be. This is where the middle would go. Let's also give him like a really sharp, long nose. And if you notice right there, I could have had the option to just draw a normal profile of the nose, but I decided to give it a tiny bit more depth by showing a little bit of the bottom of his nose. Little tiny things like that where it could be easy to just go ahead and do it one way. It's make it a point to yourself to not go the easy route on your sketchbook. Remember, on your sketchbook's for learning. This is for you to learn and teach yourself. Your finished illustrations and your canvases and stuff. Hey, take what you learn here and then apply it there. But your sketchbook should always just be filled with mistakes and errors and you trying to learn and how to make things better and what works and what doesn't. Like that's what your sketchbook should be. And yeah, at some point or another, like it'll look pretty and you can always lay it down and make, all your practice sketches pretty. But don't aim for it to just be pretty, aim for it to teach you something. Okay, so let's see. Um, so this eye would be closed, but I want to make them creepy, so we still want to give them a really sharp is the name of the game when it comes down to like creepy. We're gonna give them the distress lines that we did right here, and we're gonna just recede his eyes into where the eyebrows are. So that just means that his eyes are deeper set in there. Now this guy looks super creepy. Like I would not trust this guy with my bike. And then whenever I'm sketching, I've been really, really, really loving just, especially when it's just a normal sketch like this, and I don't really have anything else that I'm gonna do to it. Whenever I just see it against white, I just give it a splash of color. Little tiny, tiny splash of color with these, watercolor brushes. And then it just makes the sketch really cool. Plus, it makes it pop like way more on the page. So, yeah, that's why I like highlighters too. So it doesn't have to be anything expensive. Just grab something that accents the color and then enjoy. Okay, so now we have sharp angles, distress lines, and how else can we make something look creepy? Well, with really cool line work. And okay, okay. We're gonna make just a little tiny like blobby. We're gonna give it like some sharp teeth. Gonna close the mouth on both sides. So that's just gonna be like a cool, gritty mouth, right? And now what we're gonna do is I'm going to take just a big, thick marker, trace around it. I'm going to show you cool squiggly lines that can make your drawings look really cool. So now it kind of looks like one of those Mario like chomp 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 dudes, right? Okay, so in order to make something look a little bit creepy or a little bit more gooey and like eek, I like to use very, imagine like loose pieces of hair, just very sparingly thin lines that just kind of break up the uniformity of the drawing. And then I combine that with dripping dripping looking parts to them. You can add little drips inside the mouth, connect sides. And when you start combining that with different elements, like let's say there's a rock or something here, and then just start making your character interact with background, then it starts looking like algae and like something malicious. Let's say you have a tree. We can make the tree look creepy as well just by having those same elements. Give it the ground. And then we're going to have this guy just wrapping himself around the tree. And just like that, you can just create something really, really cool that's not necessarily gory, but looks pretty cool and kind of creepy. Let's see, do I have a white pen around here? I do. And then on top of this, you can grab like a white marker or something and just accent individual parts of it. Even just a dot can make it look even alive. So here's an example, something that I just made out of a little blobby with a watercolor as well. That was really fun. Let's see. I'm gonna see what you guys have asked so far. So, Blaze Akuma, what's up? Bloodstain at Cisco. Hey Rod, what's good? I hope you're doing better. I know what you mean. I have been doing the same thing. Yeah, I'm focusing on your work and on yourself. Dragon on Stilts, howdy. Ravi V. Depp. Yeah, Mr. Depp. Zero Bunny, your work is super cool. Thank you. John Golan, how's your current job helped you with the books you're working on? Oh, okay. So if in case you guys don't know, I work for a company called Puppy Dogs and Ice Cream. They are a book publishing company, and I get to work and help a ton of artists and authors with their books. And we get them ready for marketing, and we get them like we do a lot of work on them most of the time in order to get them to where we need them to be for us to make money with them. So every day I look at art and I try to improve it. It also has taught me that the value of different levels of art, like you don't have to be the best illustrator in order to be a really, really good kids book illustrator. So it really opened up my eye, and thanks to that, uh, Yeah, there's a lot of projects that I think that I really, really want to tackle. Uh, just mostly because I've realized the level of detail and level of talent that's going to take to be able to achieve what I want. And I think it's very achievable in the near future. So this job has taught me a lot of really cool lessons that I will be applying to everything that I do very, very soon. Oh, by the way, I love drawing with watercolor stuff. Like, I don't know, for some reason, it's just really, really fun for me to be able to layer the colors up. Like, it's just like painting, but not as harsh as painting, if that makes any sense. Like, I love the texture, I love the feel of it. It's just a medium that I really enjoy. And it's not expensive too, so it's that's the best part for me. Like, I love it. Let's see. Back to creepy. Back to creepy though. One thing you can do with creepy things is give them creepy hands as well. So you can make someone's like fingers really, really like nasty. I'll show you guys the two extremes of hands. So we have our standard little sausage finger Mickey Mouse cartoon hands on one side of the spectrum. Right? So super soft, super like squishy. They look like sausages. And then on the other side of the spectrum, we have the super creepy hands. Yeah, super creepy, like crypt keeper type of hands. Right? So you have like the creepy, like, rah. So essentially, we have the two different contrasts when it comes down. Everything in between can be like broken down as well, like, but it comes down to the. Oh, I'll just draw something really quick so I can make the comparison without like having no visual. Why did I draw a fist in the shape of a box, kind of, to prove a point? Okay, so remember how we talked about how different shapes call out different feelings and different like moods and different people? How we distinguish that round people have a softer, kinder, nicer, like innocent type of feel? Well, that applies to like hands and body features as well. So if you round out a character a lot, he's going to have that feeling of somebody soft, somebody approachable, somebody kind, somebody nice. If you draw somebody with really sharp, jaggedy line like objects, like pokey stuff, they're gonna be seen as creepy or villainous or evil. And if you draw somebody that has really blocky things, they're gonna be seen as strong, reliable, solid. And those are elements that apply to absolutely every part of character design. So when you're drawing a new character, you can come up with really cool things by just building the foundation of what the character is. So if the character is really, let's say he's really cuddly, but he's also like evil. So we could make like somebody that has a lot of round features, right? So nice round features. we have all the round features. But then we give him a lot of jaggedy like armor. So it's like, let's say like that's like he has a jaggedy helmet too. So you can contrast shapes and colors, and because the same thing applies to colors as well. There's colors that are good and sharp, and they convey a certain mood. Like red is anger, blue is sadness, stuff like that. But then, you can combine that and then make different feels and moods for your stuff just by simply changing the color of them. So in this case, if we had somebody that was really like cuddly but still villainous, you can just do, something like that. Combine the elements, make them work in some way or another, and then just start playing with that, because that's going to make a much stronger character design than if you don't put any thought of that into it. Or if you already have a really cool design that you really, really like, you can just apply that to that. All right, let's see. Well, let's see. If I was just drawing a really creepy eye, honestly, like it'd be something as simple as that. Maybe not even have them looking in the same direction. Ah, let's play with highlighter again. I often really, really enjoy just drawing the faces. Like not drawing even the outside of the face, just drawing the facial features. And then just filling it in with like a random shape like this as well. Like that's how I came up with Mr. Dup in the first place. Let's see. It's a little too bright. Let's try this one next. Let's see. So, you guys feel free to ask some stuff. I love talking for hours, but it helps out a ton if you guys ask stuff that I can answer. Let's see. Gabriel Moose. Hello. Hello. Moizakuma, can you draw Yuya from Yu-Gi-Oh? I have no idea who Yuya is from Yu-Gi-Oh. But I will try to draw Yu-Gi-Oh from memory. He has very, very sharp features, right? Yeah, he does. And he has like ridiculously long hair. And it's like layered. If I, is it? No, that doesn't look right. It's okay. And it's like black, and he has like a lightning bolt, I think. Okay, so we have his face, and then they have like the weird like box eyes, and I forget if it's like really, really, really big, long. Uh, Damn. Okay, he has like big collar. I know that. Time to duel. Let's see. They don't. They never have noses in anime. They just have like that. Okay. Well, that's my attempt at drawing Yu-Gi-Oh. So, probably not that good. But gonna give him some color just to make him pop. Okay. Let's see. What else can we fit into this page? Good night. Good night. Keep poop 13. Let's see. What up, Sensei? Do you have any tips on shading? I especially like how you shade with highlighters. Yeah. Yeah, let's do that because that's a good one. It's a fun one. Let me see if I can find some of my highlighters that I like. Here you go. Okay, here's one. I'm gonna show you guys how I like to do my shading with highlighters. I'm gonna show you guys with a little watercolor thing, and I'll show you. Yes, I do. I have water, but I don't have a palette. No, yes, I do. I'm gonna show you guys how to use these three elements in one quick page. And if you guys don't know why I chose highlighters, it's because it allows you to put down color really, really quickly. I don't care so much about buying like $7 markers when I can buy like 15 of these. When I'm finished artwork, I'm finishing it on the computer, I'm finishing it on a canvas, I'm finishing it with really like, like with the best materials that I have. When I'm sketching, which is 99% of my time nowadays, uh, I don't care about finishing a masterpiece. It's just about getting that idea down and then just moving to the next one. So I like playing with ballpoint pen and something to accent the colors. So we're gonna have a couple different things to do right now. Where did I put the other one? Okay, oh, here it is. There you go. Okay, so first things first, basic shading with a pen comes down to a couple different things. If you're drawing with ballpoint pen, you don't get to erase. You don't get to erase at all. So you have to be very mindful of when you're sketching. When you're sketching, what I recommend is that you learn to have excellent pen pressure so that first you don't develop those little blobs that happen and then they ruin your drawing. This is how you avoid them. If you press really hard, the little ball. Let's see if there you go. There's a little ball at the top of that. So if you press really hard, it clogs a little bit of that ink. And if you don't move it and rotate it like you're supposed to, it tends to clog up, and then that's how you get those bleed marks. So if you don't want your pens to bleed like that, don't do that. Just learn how to press really lightly and do little exercises like these. Drawing different shapes. I like drawing 3D shapes, third-dimensional shapes, and adding a little tiny bit of like shading to each side. Right? That's just what I like to do for like warm-ups and exercises. It's just something that helps me with my dexterity. But when it comes down to also with inking, with a ballpoint pen and drawing with a ballpoint pen, remember that you have to do it in sections. You're not going to be able to get perfect lines. Like if you're trying to draw like a circle, Jesus, I would be really, really lightly sketching and then try to fill that in with really, really little tiny strokes that when you put them together will eventually look like a nice solid line. And you take it nice and slow at first. This takes a while to get used to. but you can get really nice results and relatively clean sketches. Let's see. Get some water. Okay, so we have a couple different circles, right? So now we got to turn these into spheres by shading them. Ooh. So when it comes down to shading with just my sketches, I like to do one level of shading, which would technically be like cell shading, or depending on the material, I try to go for 2 layers of shading. And that gets a little tricky sometimes because materials don't really like to cooperate that well so much. So highlighters, very fluid, very, 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 very fluid. And you can actually layer them a little bit to create a little bit of a gradient. But you have to be very careful because they tend to leave little dots at the end. So I just like to wipe them off whenever I'm done. So when if I'm trying to shade with a highlighter, I am very mindful of little tiny pools of ink that accumulates. And then I just try to use that little tiny bit of darkening that happens to create an even deeper shade. Always keeping in mind that you only have 2 colors. You'll have like your contrast color, which is the color of your sketchbook, and you have the color of your highlighter. And you can do a lot of really fun things by just playing with contrasts. Making sure that the colors stand out a lot more by surrounding them and using cross hatching, something that you would do with ink, in order to achieve a nice, fun, looking gradient. While keeping in consideration bounce lights, rim lighting, and stuff like that as well. Just you're doing the same thing you would do with a pencil, you would just do it with a highlighter. And since you don't have the ability to erase, you get better because you want to not be horrible at it. Necessity breeds creative ideas. And if you make yourself have to learn to do something in a different way, you're going to do it or give up. And I don't give up. So I just make life hard for myself and I learn with different things. Now, the watercolor pens are really, really fun, but they're a little bit less forgiving than, let's say, the highlighter, because whenever you go over it a couple times, it's going to lay down another layer of that color. Imagine having a layer on multiply in the Photoshop. That's what this is, but without the ability to undo. So what I like to do with watercolors is, ideally, I have the pen that actually like lays down the watercolor marker, and then I have one of those little like brush penny like pen things, so I can lay down the color and then smudge it right away. And in this case, it's not working all that well. These paint thingies are so brittle. Okay. Let me see. See, the problem with these, though, is that if you don't hit it right away, it just doesn't do anything. But what you can do when you layer it in is you spread it out. So it's all about patience, and with watercolors, it's not about perfection. It really isn't. Like if you're looking for laying down perfect like layers of color with watercolor, I wouldn't recommend it. It's I think the beauty of watercolors is that it has that non-uniformity to it, which is something that I've absolutely loved. Okay, let's put this guy away. And then if I was using just a normal watercolor set, I would get myself one of those little pen things. Just squirt a little bit of water into one of the little pellets, get it a little bit going. And with watercolors, what I found is that when you lay down your initial color, make sure that you get a nice solid amount of color in there. And then you use that same color to spread to the rest of it. Like you build it out with that same amount. If you put too much, you can always remove a little bit. And it's a very, very fun, like I love watercolors. When you want to lay down darker tones, sometimes you gotta wait until it's actually like dry. But I'm very impatient, so oftentimes I just go on anyways. That is the one true fact about me. Like I have to be more patient when it comes down to when I'm doing my art. I often think that if I don't finish something within like 10 minutes, I failed. So this one requires a long time to dry a little bit. Yeah, this one's pretty much dry already. And this one doesn't absolutely need anything. Also, it depends on what type of paper you guys are going to be using because not all paper can handle ink. Uh, I found that these Danique sketchbooks, they're fantastic. Like I like watercolor and it doesn't bleed. The only thing that you can't take are like Sharpies or anything alcohol based. So if you like your Copics, probably set a bleed sheet and then just you will only be able to draw on one side of the page. But if you were just focusing on one side of the page, you could probably even use acrylics on this. That's just cool. Okay, so pencils. Pencils are fun too. I find pencils to be really messy. I love it though. Like, okay, back when my animation days, when I was studying to be an animator, I used cold erase pencils like a madman. That was the only pencils I liked to actually draw with. It's because they had like this nice non like graphite feel to them, and they just had like this plasticky, rubbery feel to them, and they were just awesome pencils. Do do do. Gotta go. Good night, everybody. I hope I can catch up next time. Thanks for staying. Awesome. Delta Popper. By the way, that's my new channel name. Not running it yet though. By the way, guys, if you guys should go check him out and sub before he starts, and then you'll be the cool kids before the cool kids were the cool kids. Any tips for finishing sketchbooks? Yeah, just keep drawing. Um, Most of the time, people do not finish sketchbooks because they don't feel like they're doing something worthwhile. they feel, let's see, hold on. If I have to say why most people don't finish sketchbooks, it's because we're so overly critical of our own stuff. We're incredibly critical of everything we do. And whenever one sketch or something doesn't come out the way that we want it, woo! And we have to see it over and over and over and over and possibly have to show it to other people. Woof! No, how? How are we gonna do that? No. See that's a terrible mentality. A lot of us don't like, well, not a lot of us. I love showing my sketchbook, but a lot of people don't like showing their sketchbooks because they feel like people are going to judge them. And true enough, anybody that's looking at anybody else's art book is going to be judging your work. But you'd be surprised at how little negative stuff ever comes out of someone looking at your sketchbook. Uh, People are fascinated by artwork and they want to be able to, when people ask to see you through your book, more likely than not, they're asking like, "Oh my God, I wish I could do that. Let me see what wonderful things you have in your sketchbook so that I can glorify you and make you like, yeah, you guys are awesome. All of you right here, all of you that have sketchbooks, you guys are awesome. Okay, it's just like really, really cool what you do. Even if you just drew little spheres with watercolor colors shading, I promise you, when people look at that stuff, they're gonna be like, oh my God, that's so cool. No one would be like, oh my God, that's just all you do. If this was all I did, I have a YouTube channel just to show my little spheres with watercolors. Like if that was my only skill that I had, I would be pimping that skill out. And that's what you have to do. You got to find that one skill that you're better than most people at and just go with it. Just run with it. And then just use every tool in your arsenal to get to that point. Let's see, if I was looking at it like that, that would be the front right here. Sketchbook. And this one is like a tree. Okay. So we have our sketchbook. And okay, so it's really easy. It's really easy to feel intimidated when people see like your sketchbook and you, if you aren't very confident in your own artwork, you're going to feel quite paralyzed. Maybe you put a lot of thoughts and like personal feelings into the drawings, and that makes you feel really, really, really vulnerable to showing your work. Maybe you draw a lot of sad or like, I don't know, sexy stuff or whatever, or things that just aren't easily explainable to people that look at your stuff, and that's why you feel so attacked or so defensive about showing your work. And I get you. It's not always easy. It's not easy to It's not easy to share your feelings through your work and then have people judge you. That's incredibly hard. That's nothing that even to this day, like even when I post something sad or something, it's like you never know how people are gonna take it. And, thanks to the amount of people that I've had, like as an audience for a very long time now, like I've gotten both sides of that coin. I've gotten really bad responses and really positive responses. So I know the taxing like feel that comes from that. And the worst part is that the more that you grow as a channel and the more that you grow as an artist and the more exposure you get and the more you share of your life with people, the more vulnerable that it is because then you allow a lot of external inputs into your life. So, and then you have to be very careful as to what you post, what you say, because you might influence people. And, you know, that's an aspect that people don't really explain to you. Like, there's no school for this. I didn't go to school for social media persona or whatever. You know, it's just something you learn as you go. And honestly, sometimes, sometimes I wish that I was still drawing just at a coffee shop instead of like sometimes you feel like you have to fulfill content for people, and it's just so tough sometimes because life is life, and life does not enjoy making your life easy. And then that just that and the expectations from people sometimes gets pretty nutty. Like if you don't post in a couple days, people start like getting very aggressive, and it's like, why? Makes no sense to me. It's free content. But if you also understood and you guys saw how many positive messages get sent my way, how many people always telling me how inspired or how I got them back into drawing, or that I'm helping them through really tough times by just relating to them. I'm not like writing scripts or anything for these things. I'm honestly just sharing my life with you guys every week. And I'm glad that you guys are all here keeping me company. So, one thing you might not know about me, but I am technically colorblind. I'm red green colorblind, so getting skin tones is a pain. So, I'm going to assume that this is the skin tone that I need, but this little brush does not have water. Okay. This might not turn out skin tone color, but it's okay. It's close enough. So what I like about ballpoint pens is that when you draw with watercolors over them, they don't bleed. And they don't even dull. It's kind of like the watercolor just kind of goes through it. And it creates a really, really fun, quick way of adding color to really large areas that's going to be nice and uniform. Because if you lay it down relatively quick, you get a nice uniform layer. So you can get a nice quick layer of color. You can switch from color to color really, really easy because it doesn't really you can choose to have it be really, really light tones by using just a little bit of it into like a wash, which is my preferred method of using watercolors. Like, and it's just really, really easy to add a lot of depth to a sketch. And they don't have to be expensive watercolors, guys. They don't. Like, it could be the dollar store set. Like, it's not even about like yeah, if you're gonna do portraits and you're gonna do landscapes and you're gonna like do like whatever, like stuff like that, then yeah, get the expensive sets, get the stuff that's like top notch. But if you're just using it to sketch, who cares? Really, like, who cares? Let's see. So now let's add some color. So when you lay it down really light, it takes no time at all to like dry. And then you can just go in with other media, like highlighters. And quickly add a bunch of color, a bunch of really fun dynamic shading super quickly. Ta-da! Yeah. So you guys get an idea. And then on top of everything, if you want to add like highlights and stuff like that, I personally like using what are these guys? Uniball Signal pens. They lay down the white incredibly nice. Incredibly nice. And then when you smudge it after, if you like want to lay down just a slight gradient, they're perfect for that as well. They're cool for correcting any line mistakes as well. And there you have it. Okay, so we've been sketching for about an hour or so. Uh, I would love to take a little bit of time to answer any questions. So honestly, the next couple minutes, ask away. I'll try to answer them as much as I can. And other than that, we will call it a night. So, any tips for finishing sketchbooks? Yes, just draw more. Try to make as much time as you can to actually do your sketches. JP Pat, I saw your post about making 6 doodles a day is a good one. Even make lines and circles without thinking it. Yeah, just draw for 6 minutes. It's really good. I think Steven Silver is the one that like led me into that, so that was really cool. Rasha Light, well, I'll take notes. John Gilling, my son's friend, saw my sketchbook and said, "Holy crap, your dad can draw." Right? That's a good feeling, isn't it? Nick Ferraro, I've been told the best way to practice is to use references. How do you practice cartoon characters? References feel like copying compared to references for realistic poses and gesture drawings. Okay, so for cartoon characters, you need to understand the basics so that you can understand what rules people broke to get to the style that you are trying to replicate. So the more you understand how the basics of drawing work, the easier it is to just flip from style to style, because then it just becomes a measure of just how do you break that rule. Like if I'm just drawing SpongeBob, like I know what rules people are breaking to get to that look. So it's easier for me to understand how many different styles work now, as opposed to trying to figure out each style, because everything is based off the foundations of anatomy and perspective. Let's see. JP Pat. Maybe there's not an age for to make a sketchbook. For me, a way to breathe or disconnect with the work. Yeah. Disconnecting or connecting to different worlds. Like, honestly, everybody draws and sketches for a different reason. So it's sometimes you just have to draw and then enjoy the journey. Not so much worrying about if you're at the right level or the right talent or anything yet. Sometimes you just got to draw, and see where that takes you later on. Are you a fine arts major or self-taught? Well, I went to the Art Institute of California for animation, but that school went crapsters. It went down the doo-doo drain. And even though I went to school for 3D animation, they didn't really teach us much about how to draw. So I was trying to build 3D characters and models off really bad drawing. So nothing ever looked really good. After school, I decided that I was just going to go into illustration because my hard drives full of all my work for 3D got stolen and my backups as well. So I was devastated 1 week before graduation or something like that. So it was like all my prospects were gone out the window. And I really enjoyed drawing. So I focused more on drawing and I just found a few jobs, just from the skills that I already had. That led me down the rabbit hole to go get my master's in illustrations. And I never completed that one. And I always regret it. But it was really, really expensive. And most of the things that I was learning is things that I already knew. So I was helping half the time teach the classes. So the teachers told me to just, pursue it some other way. So I quit going to school for my master's. And then it's been self-taught, just everything from that point on. Okay, back to practicing anatomy and perspective. Yes, always anatomy and perspective. What sketchbook and watercolor pens are you using? I'm using my Danique sketchbook. I think I have a code for a discount. I'll post it in one of my next posts on Instagram, so go check it out there. Yeah, they're really cool. They're fantastic sketchbooks, and they come in all different sizes. Let's see. Is it bad to have sketchbooks dedicated to certain topics No, not at all. No, that's fantastic. Like, I actually found that to be a gigantic asset for me. Like, I was drawing pinups, and all I did for an entire book was just pinups. And by the end of it, I was so much better in that particular topic. And it's because I kept everything concise. If I needed to go back and look at my, different sketches that I'd done to reiterate something that I learned, I just looked back a couple pages or a page or something like that. I didn't have to go searching for it. So yeah, if you have the mental capacity and the fortitude that it takes to be focused on different sketchbooks with different topics, fantastic. Do it. But don't fall in the trap of doing this and never completing any of them. Okay? That's the thing. If you do this, you dedicate yourself to this. If you don't, then don't. Just sketch. I'd rather people finish an entire sketchbook and feels that proud moment of finishing a sketchbook than having a ton of sketchbooks that they never fill up. You'll be super proud of every sketchbook that you finish. Yeah, no, I love small skin sketchbooks as well, but I like these a little bit more. The size difference is a lot. It's like an in between too. It's not like 8.5 by 11. It's 9 by 6 or 9 by 8 or something like that. These are really nice. The really large ones, 9 by 13 or 9 by 12, really nice. Like they just have a lot of variety, and you can get your own artwork on them. So it's really cool. The watercolor pens, these are Miniso. They come in the set. It's like this little set. They sell them at the Miniso stores, the Miniso USA. I think it's like $8 or something like that. Yeah, super cheap, super cheap. So you guys should check it out. So okay, we're gonna call it a night for today. I love the fact that you guys keep me company. This is honestly the last couple weeks. This has been like my favorite time of the week. Thank you guys so much. If you do not follow me yet on Instagram, follow me on Instagram. If you don't follow me on here, make sure to click the subscribe button so you know you help me get those goals of being able to do this full time. So if you have not yet, please subscribe. Go back, watch over 100 different videos that I've released so far, and come into my Instagram to chill and say hi and everything. I take questions there and I get bored all the time, so I draw a lot of stuff for you guys all the time. So, with that said, thank you all so much. I hope you guys keep sketching, but now Rod needs to go get some food. So, take care, everybody. Have a wonderful night. Love you all. Bye bye.